Last year, I was almost run over outside my front door. And you might think, well, was that my fault? Did I look where I was going? Well, I'll tell you what happened. I looked right and then went across the road. And as I live on a one-way street, that's a fairly sensible thing to do, to look in the direction of traffic. What I didn't count on was someone coming the wrong way up the one-way street. He came to a screeching halt. I nearly had a heart attack. No harm was done, but it taught me a valuable lesson. I mean, having lived in this house for 20 years, with the traffic always coming that way, that just one day, one dangerous day, it was going to come that way. And therefore, conditioning and how we're conditioned and the habits we develop suddenly came into stark contrast with me. And of course, we need to talk about that a little bit today in this video, about how we get conditioned, how we develop our habits, and do we need to change any of them? So I'm Alan Chatting. I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist, an author, and a coach. And these little videos that I'm doing are taken from this book, Evolution and You. And it's got a number of short sections about different aspects of your personal psychology. And I'm delivering all these for you on a weekly basis. If you enjoy them and you like this kind of content, then hit like and subscribe, please. Okay, let's get back to how we get conditioned. When we're little, we are dependent on our parents for many things, and part of what we're dependent on is to be socialized so that we're okay when we go out to school and we meet people and we go to work. Do we know how to behave? So, like good little girls and boys, we are taught to say please and thank you. Nothing wrong with that. We're taught to wash our hands nicely when we've been to the toilet. Nothing wrong with that. But I was taught, because I grew up just after the war when food was scarce and expensive, I was taught, always eat your dinner up. There's hungry children in Europe. There's hungry children in Africa. You've got a dinner there, eat it all up. Very appropriate for the time, for the early 50s. Actually, not very appropriate when it got to the 1980s and I was approaching middle age. And I always ate my dinner up. And that had something to do with the fact that I tended to overeat a little as I got older. Actually, no, let's be honest, I tended to overeat quite a lot because I would always leave a clean plate, however generous the serving had been. So, you know, sometimes you need to know when to bin some of this stuff, because some of the things that your parents teach you become out of date, like eat all your dinner up. You know, there's starving children in Europe. Now, what else might we need to bin? Well, again, when I was young, there was a whole lot of, oh, get a good job, son. See if you can get a job in the bank. You know, people were getting jobs for life. That's all out of date now. It's all out of date. The job market moves very rapidly and people move with it, especially as technology changes. So we need to be a little bit careful with what we've been taught, and especially what about our parents' views. So there will be a lot of messages and rules that you picked up as a child from your parents, and it's not a bad idea to just jot down, what did you pick up from your parents? Were there messages at home about sex? For example, was it something nobody ever spoke about, or good girls didn't talk about? What were the messages about money? That having money was okay, or that it was hard to come by? You know, were there messages and rules about people who weren't like you, people in the next street, the next town, the next country? Were the messages and rules about people of different colors from you? And how many of those messages and rules of your parents perhaps need to be unpicked. I mean, some obvious ones that used to be around when I was young would be that nice girls don't speak up, nice girls don't get angry, good girls are compliant and look after people. Well, that's a bit out of date now, isn't it? And one of the ones that's still around, you know, because you can tell it in the suicide figures, is big boys don't cry. And men are learning to open up about their feelings, but enormous numbers of men kill themselves compared with women. And that's because they don't talk and they don't let things out. And I believe that that's very old-fashioned messages about man up, don't cry, get on with it, toughen up a bit. And yeah, those who can't do that sometimes take their own lives. So these messages and rules, like me looking the wrong way when I was crossing the road, can be fatal. So let's look at your conditioned messages, your beliefs, and what you've got that might not be helpful for you. So here's an opportunity to challenge your fixed beliefs as to whether no one in your family ever went to university, or, you know, you might automatically be thinking, oh, I can't do that. I couldn't be a manager because my dad said it would be too much responsibility. Those sort of things can be really unhelpful to you. So here's a good opportunity to do a little bit of journaling, talk to a friend, and consider whether you're carrying rules around with you which are no help to you. I'm Alan chatting. If you've enjoyed this, like and subscribe is helpful, please. And I will see you in the next video.